Hey friends, Sleepy here, and welcome to a new collection video. Today we're going to take a look at my updated PSP collection. The last time I shared my PSP collection was, I think, March of last year, and I've added several titles to the collection since then. PSP is one of my favorite handheld consoles of all time, and it is the largest handheld collection that I have in my collection overall. So we've got a lot of titles, so let's get started here. Alright friends, so let's get started looking at my PSP collection. I love it. It's one of my favorite. Now, I do not have any filler titles in my PSP collection. I only have games that I actually want to play and experience. And the PSP has a huge, vast library of games to choose from. I highly recommend it. Any of these titles I have in my collection, I definitely recommend you guys pick up and add to your collection. Now, I do have a couple loose ones that I'll share with you. And I also have these UMD movies where they actually released movies for the PSP that you could watch, actual movies. I only have a couple of those, but they're movies that I really like. First up, I have the Spawn animated series Season 1 special editions. They were made for the PSP. Very cool. It's really awesome. So it's really neat that they have this. So glad to have that. Next up we have Fantastic Four, which I really enjoyed the Fantastic Four movies. I know this movie kind of got a lot of hate in the sequel and stuff, but I really enjoyed it. It was actually a good movie. A lot of fun with this one, so I was glad to have this. And the final one I have is Ghostbusters, one of my favorite movies. Love Ghostbusters, so it's really cool being able to watch it on the go on my PSP. So it's kind of neat. They have these little UMD movies. A loose copy here, I have Spider-Man Friend or Foe. I also have Infected, which I have a copy that you'll see here in a little bit that's actually complete. It's just an extra one I got. And I also have Pursuit Force, which is pretty cool. So those are my loose games. Now we're going to go to all the ones that are complete with their manuals and everything, as I prefer to collect my PSP games complete. So first up we have Full Auto 2 Battle Line. So this is a cool racing game, but you also have combat and stuff in it. Really cool game. Highly recommend this one. Next up we have Adventures to Go, a Natsume title. This is a cool little strategic grid-based battle RPG. Played a little bit of it, it's pretty neat. Next up we have Siphon Filter Logan Shadow, which I love the Siphon Filter series, so I wanted to get the PSP version. You can play with up to 8 players if you want to play the online multiplayer, but otherwise I've got it just to play through the story. Played a little bit of it, it is fun, great game. Next up we have Siphon Filter Dark Mirror, so another Siphon Filter game in the series here on the PSP. Another awesome game. You can also play with 8 players if you want to play the multiplayer part, but I got it simply for playing the single player story. Another good game in that series. Next up we have Rainbow Islands Evolution, which is pretty cool. So this is retaining the original gameplay from the classic 80s video game. Rainbow Islands Evolution is an evolution of the series by enhancing the game to make full use of the PSP system. This is the 21st century retro gaming at its finest. All new storyline brings a musical theme to the world of Rainbow Islands. So really cool game. If you guys like the old one, definitely recommend this one. Got the Marvel Ultimate Alliance PSP version, which is cool because I love this on the console, so I like having a portable version. I also got Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2, which is great. Next up we have the Amazing Allies edition of Spider-Man Web of Shadows, which I have this on the Xbox 360. It's an awesome game. This one plays a little bit different on the PSP because obviously it's not as powerful a console, but it does have some stuff that are exclusive to the PSP version, so I'm really happy to have this. It's a great Spider-Man title. Next up we have Jak and Daxter Lost Frontier, which I love Jak and Daxter games. I have not got a chance to play this one, but my buddy recommended it to me. He said it's really fun, so I'm looking forward to eventually playing through that because I love this series on the PS2. Great game. Next up we have Hot Shots Golf Open T2, which I love these little quirky golf games, and the Hot Shots games are just really fun games, only on PlayStation. Highly recommend the Hot Shot Golf's Open T2 for PSP. If you have a PSP and you like this series, definitely recommend this one. Next up we have Gunner, an Atlas title. It's still sealed. I got this as a gift from my brother. Looks really cool. From the makers of Knights and Nightmare comes a compelling new strategy RPG. So there you go, it's a strategy RPG. Look kind of cool though. Next up I have Final Fantasy for PSP, so a classic, re-released for the PSP. And then I have 2 copies of Final Fantasy II. One was loose, so I printed out my own cover art, and then I did eventually get a complete copy from my brother, so that's a pretty cool game right there. And then I also have Final Fantasy IV, the complete collection. So this has Final Fantasy IV and Final Fantasy IV, the After Years. Great RPG series. I've not had a chance to play this one, but I'm looking forward to, because I do love Final Fantasy, so this is great. Next up we have Ridge Racer. I love the Ridge Racer series, so I had to get the PSP version. Awesome racing game. Recommend this for PSP. It's really fun. You can play up to 8 players too, which is cool. Flat Out Head On. Another really cool game in the Flat Out series. Definitely recommend this one, as this one was made specifically for the PSP. Really good game. Next up we have Sega Rally Revo. Awesome Sega Rally game. This is also released on consoles. Does play really well on the PSP, so I recommend this one as well. Next up we have Test Drive Unlimited. I love Test Drive Unlimited. Have it on Xbox 360. I've got it on the PSP here. It's also was released on PS2. So it's a really good game. Highly recommend it. You get to go through Hawaii and race on different tracks and do some different kind of missions and stuff. You get to do all kinds of exotic cars. There's a little story mode and stuff with it. Really fun game. Recommend that one. Next up we have Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. Pretty cool game. If you like the Monster Hunter series, I'd recommend it. And then I also got the sequel, Monster Hunter Freedom 2. Some cool games. If you love the Monster Hunter series, I recommend the PSP versions. Really good games. Army of Two 40th Day, which I love the Army of Two games on Xbox 360. Wanted to get it for the PSP to check it out. I haven't played it yet, but it looks really fun, so definitely looking forward to eventually playing this one. Next up we have Super Collapse 3, a pretty cool little puzzle game. Puzzle games do play really well on portable consoles, so I do like having a few of them in my collection, because you can play for 5 or 10 minutes, you know, you're killing a little bit of time, and they're great little games you can pick up and play and don't have to commit a lot of time to, so I like that one. Beowulf the game, which I did play this and beat it on Xbox 360, but I wanted to eventually play the PSP version to see if it plays a little differently, and it does control and play a little bit differently than the console versions of, so I'm looking forward to playing some more of this. I only played a little bit of it, but I liked what I saw. Next up we have Miami Vice the game, which I love the Miami Vice show, so it was really cool seeing that they had a game, so I picked it up. I've not got a chance to play it before, but it looks really cool, as I loved the Miami Vice series and movies and stuff. Really cool. Next up, we've got MX vs. ATV Reflex, which I love the MX vs. ATV series. I have these on consoles, but they're definitely really fun to have if you have a PSP, so I've got that one. I've got ATV Off-Road Fury Pro, another good one. ATV Off-Road Fury Blazing Trails. MX vs. ATV On the Edge. And MX vs. ATV Untamed. So I have all the ATV and MX vs. ATV games for the PSP. There's so many of them, and they're all fantastic. So if you like dirt bikes and four-wheelers and stuff like that, highly recommend them for PSP. They're really fun. Now, they're not as good as the console versions, of course, but they're still really fun games. Next up, we have MotorStorm Arctic Edge. I love the MotorStorm series. I know my buddy Dean from Escape to Gaming is a huge fan of this series. Love the fact of adding snowmobiles and snow racing and stuff. Awesome game. This was also released for the, what PlayStation was it? 2, I think? Or PlayStation 3? Really good game, though. I'm glad to have this in the collection. Next up is Mod Nation Racers. I got this from my brother. He said it was really fun because you can make your own tracks and you have stuff to race on and you create drivers and your own carts and stuff. He said it's pretty cool, so I'm looking forward to checking that one out. I have one copy of this, but it's in the wrong case. So this is Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition, but it was in a Midnight Club LA Remix case. That's how it came. So I do need to find the actual case for it. But then I also have the actual Midnight Club LA Remix game, complete and everything in there. So another really good series that I love. Of course, it's better on consoles, but for a portable version, it's a really fun game. Have Gran Turismo for PSP, which I love the Gran Turismo ever since I played the first one on PlayStation 1. So of course I had to get it when I saw there was a PSP version. Awesome racing game. If you love Gran Turismo, you'll love the handheld version. Next up, we've got some Need for Speed games. I love Need for Speed ever since I played the original one. So this is Need for Speed Underground Rivals, which is a companion piece to the console version of Need for Speed Underground. Great game. Need for Speed Carbon, Own the City, another companion piece to the console versions of Need for Speed Carbon. Great game. Need for Speed Most Wanted 510, another companion piece to the Most Wanted games that were released on consoles. This one I had to print out my own cover because I had it loose, so I am looking to get a complete copy eventually. Another great game. Alright, we got some cool action RPGs here now. We've got Dungeon Explorer, Warriors of Ancient Arts. I also have this for the Nintendo 3DS. This game is starting to get up there in price. So glad to have it. I love these kind of games. It's fun. I've got 2 copies of Untold Legends, the Warrior Code. One was mine and one my brother gave me. Now the reason I have multiple copies of this and kept them is you can actually play this multiplayer with multiple PSPs. I have 2 PSP consoles, so I can actually play this co-op with my brother when he comes up. Really good action RPG, isometric, love it. And then I've got 3 copies of Untold Legends, Brotherhood of the Blade. Again, this one you can play with up to 4 players and 4 PSPs. I need to get a 3rd PSP, as I used to play this with my brother, myself, and my one buddy who had a PSP. So I need to get a 3rd one, as I'd love to play this with 3 people. Really good action RPG series as well. Next up we have Sid Meier's Pirates, which I love the Sid Meier pirate games. This one is another good one in the series. Highly recommend that. We have Rengoku, the Tower of Purgatory. This was recommended to me. Looked really cool. Can play up to 4 players. Awesome game. Medieval Resurrection, which this is part of the Medieval series. If you guys have played the other ones on consoles, this one's really fun. It's awesome. I recommend it. We have Dragonair's Aria, an NIS America title. Just looked really cool. Experience a sweeping story of love and adventure, a tragic destiny born from the blood of a dragon. So it's a cool little RPG, neat game. Next up we have Lords of Arcana, a Square Enix title, only on PSP. Are you strong enough to become the Lord of Arcana? This is a pretty cool action RPG game, really awesome. Next up we have Metal Gear Acid, which I love the Metal Gear series, so I wanted to get all the PSP ones that they have. Very cool. I also have Metal Gear Solid Portable Ops and Metal Gear Solid Portable Ops Plus. So really cool games. They're a little different than the Metal Gear Solid for the consoles, but they're really fun. If you love the series and you haven't played them before, I recommend the PSP versions. Really good. Next up I've got Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories. This is an awesome game. I love it. It's a companion piece to Vice City. It takes place before the Vice City that we know and love. They did port this to the PS2, but it's really expensive on PS2, and I would recommend playing the original version for PSP. It's a really fun game. I also have Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars, which I got this for my brother. This also was released, I'm pretty sure, on the Nintendo DS or 3DS. Really fun game. Has that old classic isometric Grand Theft Auto view. Has a really good story. I only played a little bit of it, so I need to go back and beat it, but really good game. And then I also had another copy of Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories. I just had the game and the manual, but I printed out my own cover for it. So I have 2 copies of this, because you can play multiplayer with 2 different PSPs in a multiplayer mode, which is cool. Next up we have Warhammer 40,000 Squad Command, which I love the Warhammer 40,000 series, and this is an isometric real-time 3D battling squad game. Really cool. I do want to get the Nintendo DS version of this as well, as I'm trying to get all the Warhammer 40,000 video games for my collection. Awesome game. Love this series. Next up is Innocent Life, a futuristic Harvest Moon from Natsume, which this was recommended to me, so I picked it up because I love Harvest Moon, and this just looks really cool because you get to, you get to raise crops and cattle and explore and adventuring. It's really cool, unique game. I recommend. Next up, we have Lego Indiana Jones 2: The Adventure Continues, which I love Lego games, so I like having the portable versions of them because they're fun. Lego Indiana Jones: The Original Adventures. Lego Pirates of the Caribbean. I have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is based off of that movie that they had released. Really fun game. I love Ninja Turtles, and this is a great game for the PSP. Assassin's Creed Bloodlines, which I love Assassin's Creed, and this is exclusive for the PSP. Very cool companion piece to the main console versions. I have a copy here of Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 1. I beat both of these on Xbox 360, but I wanted to play the PSP versions to see if they're any different or not. Really cool. I'm looking forward to checking out both of those. Oh, looks like I actually have two Warhammer 40,000 Squad Command. I did not realize I had two of those, so... Oh, I've got two now. That's cool. Next up, we've got Field Commander. So a military strategy game that looked kind of neat. Street Fighter Alpha 3 Max. I love Street Fighter 3. I have it on my PlayStation 1. And this is a better version that was released for PSP. Really happy to have that. Next up, we have a game called The Con. I've not played it before, but just seeing it in the game store looked really cool, so I decided to pick that up. It is multiplayer, so you can play with 2 people. Mortal Kombat Unchained, pretty cool. This is basically the portable version of Mortal Kombat Deception. You have a conquest story mode you get to go through, chess combat, puzzle combat, and then of course, obviously, the actual Mortal Kombat fighting itself. Pretty cool for PSP. Gangs of London, I got this from my brother. Just looked really neat. I have not played it before, but he said he loved it, so I'm looking forward to playing that. Capcom Classics Collection Reloaded. So this has a bunch of classic Capcom games to play, up to 3 players. Really cool. So you got 1942, 1943, Street Fighter 2, Ghosts and Goblins, Commando, and more. So that's awesome. SOCOM Fireteam Bravo 3, which I love the SOCOM games. These play really good on the PSP. SOCOM US Navy SEALs Fireteam Bravo 2, and SOCOM US Navy SEALs Fireteam Bravo 1. And next up we got SOCOM US Navy SEALs Tactical Strike. So I have all the SOCOMs for the PSP. Love the SOCOM series. Great one. If you never played any of them, I recommend all of them. They're all good. We have X-Men Legends 2, The Rise of Apocalypse. Very cool action RPG. I played this on the Xbox. Played the first one and beat the second one. And I have played the PSP version. Really good game. Next up we have Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Predator. So a companion piece to the Ghost Recon series for consoles. This is great. Call of Duty Roads of Victory. I love the Call of Duty series, so I had to get the PSP version. This one is great. Resistance Retribution. I love the Resistance games on PlayStation 3, so I love having the PSP version with it. Awesome game. Medal of Honor Heroes 2 and Medal of Honor Heroes. I love the Medal of Honor games, and these play really good for PSP ports. Now, of course, they're not as good as like console versions, but they are really fun games. If you love the series, I recommend them. Next up, I have Killzone Liberation. I love the Killzone series. I've got the PSP version. I would like to get the PSP version, it's just, or PS Vita version. It's just really expensive, but I love the Killzone series. Definitely a great companion piece to the main console ports. We have Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter 2, which was also released on consoles. Really good game. I have Coded Arms. Really cool futuristic world, non-stop first-person shooting. Really cool. And then I also got the sequel, Coded Arms Contagion. Very awesome games. You can also play multiplayer with these as well. Alrighty. Let's move on. Next up, we've got Juiced Eliminator, part of the Juiced Racing series. Really good game. Next up, we have Burnout Revenge, which is awesome. I love the Burnout series. This plays really well on PSP. Another great racing title. We have Tekken Dark Resurrection. I love Tekken, so this is a great fighter for PSP. Recommend this one. You can play up to 2 players. Here's my complete copy of Infected, where you fight zombies and stuff. Really awesome game. Love this. Really good. You can play with up to 8 players too, which is cool. Hot Shots Tennis, Get a Grip, which I love the Hot Shots game. The tennis ones are really fun, so I recommend this one. Afterburner, Black Falcon. I love my playing combat titles. This one's really good. Controls well for PSP. Recommend that. Hellboy, The Science of Evil, which is pretty cool. I played this on the console version. This one's a little different since it's on a portable console, but it's a great companion piece to that game. Recommend it if you love the Hellboy movies. You'll like the game. Here's my complete copy of Pursuit Force, which is an awesome game. My brother was the one who originally owned these. When he got rid of his PSP, he gave me his collection, and this game was really fun, so glad to have that. I also have the Simpsons game, which I love. The Simpsons game was really fun. Played it on Xbox 360. I wanted to have the PSP version of it. It's a really cool game. I love it. Played a little bit of it. It's great. Transformers, the game. I love the Transformer games. It's based off the original movie that they released. Great game. And I also got Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, another Transformers game based off of another one of the movies. It's awesome. I have 2 copies of Daxter, where you play as just Daxter from the Jak and Daxter series. Really cool. One was mine and one was my brother gave me. Really good game. Next up we have Monster Jam Urban Assault, which I actually have 2 copies of that. Pretty cool game. I also have Monster Jam Path of Destruction. Another good game. Another sealed game here I got from my brother was Rush, which I love the Rush series. I've not got a chance to play this PSP version, but I am looking forward to it. It is up to 4 players, so that's cool. We have Burnout Dominator, so another game in the Burnout series. Another one I recommend. Awesome game. Ford Bold Move Street Racing. Pretty cool racing title for PSP. We also have Ford Racing Off-Road, so off-road racing with trucks and Jeeps and different vehicles. Really cool. Crazy Taxi Fair Wars. I love the Crazy Taxi series. Ever since I played it in the arcade and the Sega Dreamcast and the original Xbox. If you love that series and you have a PSP, get this one. It's just as fun as it was on the consoles and arcade. Really cool game. Next up we have Samurai Showdown Anthology. This is a newer one that I added to my collection, which has 6 different Samurai Showdown fighting games. Love this. Great collection. Next up we have 300 March to Glory. It's a game based off the 300 movie. It was really fun. I love that movie. It was awesome. The game is really good too. I recommend it. X-Men Origins Wolverine, which I have played this and beat it on the 360. I've been working on beating on the PS2, but I also wanted to beat the PSP version to see if it was any different or not. I played a little bit of it. It is really fun. Obscure The Aftermath. Love the Obscure series. I've not got a chance to play this one. This one's actually pretty pricey these days. I got lucky and one of my local game stores had it priced pretty cheap. Great game. Next up we have G.I. Joe Rise of the Cobra. Pretty cool little G.I. Joe game. Midway Arcade Treasures Extended Play, featuring Mortal Kombat, Joust, Defender, and more. So there's Mortal Kombat 2 on there, Gauntlet. So there's a whole bunch of classic old arcade games you can play portably. Really neat. Up to 4 players too. Retro City Rampage DX. This was released only digitally for the PSP, but I got this from Dat Game Collector. He had a video up and he recommended he had this. He said he had this, and he said if anybody would be interested, the first person to let me know can have it. And so he sent it to me. So it was just a physical case version for a digital only title. So it's kind of neat having this, as it's kind of hard to find this really great game that I have on PSP. I also have it on my PlayStation 3. Great. Spider-Man 2. I love Spider-Man games. This is based off the movie. Really good game. Now, it's not as good as the console version, obviously, but still a really good game. Next up, we have Splinter Cell Essentials. So this is pretty cool. The best-selling spy action arrives on PSP. Storyline spans the entire Splinter Cell series, so it was made specifically for the PSP. Really cool. I've not played it, but I've heard good things about it. Work Time Fun, WTF, just some kind of random mini games, kind of like a WarioWare type of game, but a PSP version. Have Indiana Jones and the Staff of Kings, pretty cool game. Avatar the game. Now, I played and beat this on Xbox 360 and really enjoyed it, so I wanted to have the PSP version to see how it is. My only basketball game, which I do love basketball games, so I had to get one for my PSP. I have NBA 10 The Inside, the #1 rated NBA sim on PSP for 3 years in a row. So you guys won't see really any other sports titles other than that one. Fading Shadows. This just looked kind of cool. God of War, Ghosts of Sparta. These are awesome. Also has a includes demo skin for God of War 3. And then I also have God of War Chains of Olympus. Now, they did re-release this and port it to PlayStation 3 and PS4 and stuff, but playing the original versions on PSP where they're built for the console, really fun games. Love the God of War series, and these games were really fun. So if you got a PSP, I highly recommend these. Next up, we have a game called Exit, Speed, Strategy, and Survival. It's another game I got from my brother. Pretty cool. And you can download levels and stuff to check out. You have to rescue people from 100 different emergencies by finding the fastest way out. So it's kind of a little like puzzle adventure game. Really cool. Next up, we have Tales of the World, Radiant Mythology. Another little cool RPG. Next up, we have Lord of the Rings Tactics. So this is a tactical Lord of the Rings RPG game. Really fun. Love Lord of the Rings, so this is a great one. You can play with up to 4 players too, so that's cool. Lord of the Rings, Aragorn's Quest, which I have not played. I've heard mixed things about this, but I'd like to check it out for myself as I'm a big fan of Lord of the Rings universe. I love it, so I want to check that out. I have The Legend of Heroes, The Tear of Vermilion. This is a cool action RPG. I got really far in it, but I never beat it. I do need to go back and complete it. And then I also got The Legend of Heroes 2, The Prophecy of the Moonlight Witch. There is a third one, but the third one is very, very expensive. I'd love to get it, but I'm waiting to find it for a good price for PSP. Both of these are awesome action RPGs. Highly recommend them. Next up is Lemmings. If you guys ever played the classic Lemmings series, they made a version for PSP. Really fun game. Astanosia Story. It's a cool action RPG that I got for a really good price. Great game. Dead to Rights Reckoning. Love the Dead to Rights series, so I had to get the PSP version. This was exclusively made for the PSP. A great companion piece to the console version. It's a great game. Worms 2 Open Warfare. Really cool game. Alright guys, give me a moment to clean up a little bit here so I can get to the rest of the games. Alright, so let's continue on. I have KO Challengers, which is part of the KO series. There was KO 1 and 2 for consoles, and this kind of combines the two into one game. Pretty cool series. Fat Princess Fistful of Cake. This was recommended to me by a buddy here on YouTube. Said it was a really good game, so he recommended it, so I've got that. Next up, we have Steel Horizon, which this is pretty cool. You get to fight ships and stuff. World War II, land, air, and sea are in historic peril. You are in the midst of a battle as a captain of a naval armada. Your objective is to command U.S. and British forces to protect the high seas against Axis powers and a mysterious terrorist threats. Combining turn-based and real-time strategy gameplay, Steel Horizon will embark you on an alternate saga of suspense, intrigue, and triumph in World War II. So, pretty cool game. I have Kingdom of Hearts, Birth by Sleep, which I love the Kingdom of Hearts series, so of course I had to get the PSP version. Of course, nowadays, you know, they do have collections on PlayStation 4 where you can play this there, but I wanted to get the original version for my collection. Kingdom of Paradise, this is a fun action RPG. I got pretty far in this, love it, I need to go back and beat it. Castlevania, the Dracula X Chronicles. This is cool. This has Castlevania Rondo of Blood, which was released originally on the TurboGrafx 16, and then there was a version of it for the Super Nintendo. And then this also has Castlevania Symphony of the Night that was for PlayStation 1. Really good game, but this has become very expensive. It goes for about $100 here locally, but really good game. If you can get it for cheap, I recommend it. Next up, we have Joan d'Arc. Really cool RPG. Glad I got this one. I did, because it's gone way up in value. It used to be a really cheap tile, but now it's gone for like 50, 60 bucks. So glad I got it. Great game. Next up, we have Valhalla Knights. It's another cool action RPG. Love this one. Played it. It's a great game. You can play with 2 people as well. Samurai Warriors State of War. I love the Samurai Warriors and Dynasty Warriors games. This one's really good on PSP. It's a little different than the console versions because of the way it has to load, but it's still a really good game. Next up, I have some Star Wars titles. I got Star Wars Lethal Alliance, which this is exclusive to PSP. Really cool game. Got Star Wars The Clone Wars Republic Heroes. Really good game. I played this on the consoles, but it's still fun on PSP. Next up, we have Star Wars Battlefront Renegade Squadron, which I love Battlefront games. Really fun on PSP, and this one was exclusive to PSP. Great title. I have another version of Star Wars Battlefront Renegade Squadron, and the reason I have this is because you can play multiplayer with 2 PSPs or more, actually up to 8 people, so really cool. Star Wars Battlefront Elite Squadron, which this is exclusive to PSP and the Nintendo DS. Awesome games. They did port Star Wars Battlefront 2 from consoles to PSP, so just as awesome on there. On the consoles, it is just that great on PSP. Lego Star Wars 3, The Clone Wars. So this goes over the Clone Wars TV show, but in Lego form, really good. Lego Star Wars 2, the original trilogy. Awesome. And then I also have Lego Star Wars Force Unleashed, which I have played it on the 360, but I never played it on PSP. And it says you can play up to 4 players, so it looks like they must have added some kind of multiplayer mode to it, so that's kind of cool. I have Star Trek Tactical Assault, which I love Star Trek games. Not as good as Star Trek games on consoles, but for a portable game, it's pretty fun. Next up, we have Prince of Persia Rival Swords. Love the Prince of Persia series, so I wanted to get the exclusive PSP version. Awesome game. Scarface Money, Power, Respect. This is a cool... It's different than the Scarface for consoles, as this is like an isometric view. It's still pretty cool and unique game. Definitely recommend if you love Scarface, you'll love this. Next up, this is technically a UMD video. This is the Silent Hill experience for PSP. This has comics and little videos and stories, music tracks and stuff. Just a great companion piece. If you love the Silent Hill series, I recommend this. Next up is Silent Hill Origins. This is an awesome game. I beat this multiple times on PSP. It was ported to PS2, and I beat it on there multiple times. It's very, very expensive, though, on PS2. It's cheaper on the PSP. Great game. It's a prequel to the original Silent Hill. And then next up we have Silent Hill Shattered Memories, which they've released this on the Wii and PS2 and PSP, so there's many different versions of this. It's probably, for me, the weakest entry in the Silent Hill series, but I'm a huge Silent Hill fan, so I had to have this in the collection. Next up, we've got Ape Escape Academy. I love the Ape Escape series, so it's really cool having another one in the series. Basically, you got a bunch of little like mini games and stuff with apes in it, but really cool. And then I also got Ape Escape On the Loose. Really cool. Next up, we've got Warriors Orochis 1 and 2. I love the Warriors Orochi series. It basically combines Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors. It combines them all fighting this Orochi character. I have 1 and 2. Really cool. They did have a third one, but it was not released for PSP. It's just on consoles. If you love the hack and slash Dynasty Warrior games like I do, highly recommend both of these for PSP. Great games. I have Dynasty Warriors and Dynasty Warriors Volume 2. Awesome games. Again, you know, they are scaled down from the console versions. There's more loading and stuff to them, but really fun games for the PSP. I'm glad that I have both of those. Next up we have Wipeout Pulse, which I love the Wipeout series, a great racing series, and this is really fun on PSP. Next up, this is a sealed title of Hakuke, Warriors of Shinsengumi. A PSP exclusive, another one I got from my brother, still sealed. I will eventually open it and check it out. It looks kind of cool. Metal Slug Anthology, so it has classic Metal Slugs, Metal Slug 2, Metal Slug X, Metal Slug 3, Metal Slug 4, Metal Slug 5, and Metal Slug 6. So a whole bunch. 7 different Metal Slug games in one. Very awesome collection for PSP. Dungeon Siege Throne of Agony, which I actually have 2 copies of, because this is another isometric action RPG. You can play co-op, so that's why I've got 2 of those. Warriors of the Lost Empire. Another really cool game. You can play co-op. Pretty cool. Dungeons & Dragons Tactics, so another tactical RPG. Really fun. If you love Dungeons & Dragons series, you'll love this. Over 40 hours of play and 30 plus levels and side quests. Awesome game. Really cool. I have Ratchet & Clank Size Matters. I had one that I had bought, and my brother gave me his copy, which is a Greatest Hits copy. Really cool game. You can play it multiplayer, so that's why I've got 2 copies. Next up, I got Secret Agent Clank, so from the Ratchet & Clank series. This was recommended to me by my buddies, and my buddy Todd told me that he loved playing this, so really cool game. Another Prince of Persia game, Prince of Persia Revelations, which is cool. I think I have all the Prince of Persia games for the PSP, but if you guys know of one that I'm missing, let me know, because I would like to get all the Prince of Persia games. I love this series. It's really fun games. Every Extend Extra from the makers of Luminine, so this is a really cool puzzle game, really awesome. Ghostbusters, the video game, really awesome. I love the Ghostbusters video game series, so I'm glad that I have the PSP version. I actually have every version of the Ghostbusters video game for all the different consoles and handhelds, and even the remasters. Love it. My favorite Ghostbusters game of all time. This is a new one that I just got this year. It's part of the Tokyo Extreme Racer series. It's called Street Supremacy. Had a very hard time finding this game for years. Got a really good deal on it on eBay. So glad to have this. It's really awesome because you actually race in teams and stuff, and you have all the classic racers from the Tokyo Extreme Racer series. Not a lot of people know that there was a PSP version in the Tokyo Extreme Racer series, so happy to have that. Brothers in Arms D-Day. Love the Brothers in Arms series, so I'm so glad to have the PSP version. Awesome game. You play as 2 different guys and one story on the night before D-Day. Awesome game. I have Valhalla Knights 2, a sequel to Valhalla Knights that I love. Once I beat that one, I will eventually play this. It is co-op too. You can play 2 players, which is cool. Death Jr., I heard really good things about this. Was given to me my brother. He said it was awesome. I have only played a little bit of it, so I definitely need to go back and check it out and play it more because it is really fun. Dragon Ball Evolution was based off that live-action Dragon Ball. That movie was absolutely terrible. I'm just a big fan of Dragon Ball, so I added it to the collection. It is a fighting game, but it's not the best Dragon Ball game, but it's still kind of fun. If you're a die-hard fan of Dragon Ball like I am, then I would recommend it. Otherwise, steer clear of it. Bust-A-Move Deluxe, another cool puzzle game. And it has the little dinosaurs from Bubble Bobble. That's cool. Another Need for Speed game here, Need for Speed Shift, which I love Need for Speed games, so another good one for the PSP. Deadhead Fred, which is an interesting game where he can switch out different heads and stuff. Really unique game for PSP, I recommend. And the final title I got is Final Fantasy Tactics: The War of the Lions. Really cool Final Fantasy game that I highly recommend. Alright guys, so there you go. That's my updated PSP collection. I hope you guys enjoyed it. My PSP collection is almost pretty much complete these days, as I pretty much have everything I want. Of course, I'm still finding a couple titles here and there. I don't want any filler titles for the PSP, just games that I know I will play and experience, or games I've already played and beat. But if you guys have a recommendation on a PSP game you think I would enjoy, let me know, as I'm always looking for new games to play and experience. So if you guys have any recommendations, let me know. If you guys have a PSP collection of your own up, please let me know, as I'd love to check it out. And we're going to end here, and let me just show you guys the mess that I created. Now I get the fun of putting all of these games away. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Take care. You guys have an amazing day, and Sleepy will see ya next time.